right now. No pun intended. So we're going to see how this works here on the formation lap, and then if need be, make another change. But we will get this right and get you the highest quality visuals we can here at BRL, as always. As we are just waiting on the session to start, as who is that guy? Okay.
Got it.
So that seems to have done the trick. Make a mental note of where I've got that at for the next time we do this. Off on the formation lap, everybody goes on the Shanghai International Circuit. This track has been around since, I believe, 2004 was the first race here?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure. I don't follow it as much as I probably should.
I believe it was 2004. It was definitely by 2005 they were here. Let me hit up the old Google. All right. So, yes, indeed. It was, in fact, opened in 2004. Most wins at this race, the Chinese Grand Prix, is Lewis Hamilton with 6, followed by Mercedes with 6 as their constructor. Circuit length of 5.451 kilometers, or 3.387 miles. Race distance today is 28 laps. And the all-time lap record for a race lap here is, believe it or not, Pierre Gasly, with a 1:34.742 for Red Bull Racing Honda in 2019.
I believe we'll see that beat here tonight.
I believe we probably will see that beat here at some point tonight. First winner of this Grand Prix was Rubens Barrichello for Ferrari, Michael Schumacher's ever-faithful number 2. Won the opening race here, and then don't really see him show up too much after that, but you certainly see a couple of names show up a lot, namely Fernando Alonso with 2 wins, Nico Rosberg also with 2 wins, and Lewis Hamilton with 6. So, needless to say, when you come to China, you can expect Hamilton to perform well above more or less anybody. As we are now waiting for Mex Andrew GP to assume the pole position, oddly enough. The entire rest of the grid is there, and he is the last car to take his grid slot. That is a little bit outside of regulation. You are supposed to maintain your position throughout the formation lap, but we'll see what happens there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Shanghai. Looks like a pretty even start for everybody. Guido gets a bit of a slow start compared to the 2 cars directly behind him. Gets swallowed up, gets dropped down to 4th. And here we go into turns 1 and 2, down into turn 3. Andrew holding the lead at the moment with DaCosta Browns all over the exhaust and diffuser. Oh, a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, the AlphaTauri is a little rubby there.
Are they actually... Is Andrew even in the car? Because he's ghosting through people right now. I think he's AWOL right now, so never mind. DaCosta Browns is your leader here as now Max Andrew has rejoined the session. Why? No, I didn't either. So that was a little perplexing. So yeah. Oh, as DaCosta runs very wide off the exit of turn 10, that'll have netted him. Oh, and we got that is Boostler. Boostler is out of the session on lap 1. Very unfortunate there. Trace Me picks up a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Rawlings. And Trace Me...
Safety car.
Yep, virtual safety car for the incident involving Boostler. Very unfortunate for him on the first lap to be out. That's never what you want to see. And coming down the back straightaway, everybody's just like, oh, come on, let me go, let me go, let me go. I want to get by this guy. Oh,
Now,
that's,
two things
that's
I'm
the most
noticing.
frustrating thing.
Tracy, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Maybe it was just like a little bit of a racing incident trying to stay away from Boosler. Maybe get his penalty removed. But Joe, already up to P2, or P3 here.
Wow. Where did he come from? Remember, he did this in Australia in the mixed conditions. Drove from the back of the pack most of the way up through it. He's kind of our resident Kevin Harvick, I guess. Just never really... He just kind of nestles in the midfield, and then bang, he's out front. And you never really know why. So, very good start from Joe, highest placed of the medium runners. Facetaste really not making any inroads on that opening lap, and now he's got all the work to do to catch up to Joe and get back by him. Everybody else is on the soft tire around them, I believe. So here in a few laps, we should see Joe start to... Oh, as Guido spins off turn 10, the other Racing Point having problems there. So he's going to have to wait until a gap forms in the pack, or, like right now, the very end of the pack goes by. So you got to think, at this point, he just needs to really try to either get off those tires or try to just suck it out until, you know, lap 5 or 6 and get on the hards. But not a very good start for the Racing Point boys here in China. So at the end of lap 2, your order out front is DaCosta Browns, followed very closely by Silk Weaver and Joe. Joe set the fastest lap of the race at a 1:35.060. And there's a little bit of a gap back to Loki in 4th.
Yeah, good start from Loki as well. Already up 4 positions, and just a couple behind him, Woodwinter also up 6 positions on the mediums.
Indeed. So you have DaCosta, Silkweaver, and Loki all on the soft tire. And then you have Joe, Facetaste, Whiffy on the mediums, followed by Andrew, who has now got back in his car and is probably a little bit irritated by exactly when his game decided to boot him out of the session. Followed by Heatwave, also on the soft in the Mercedes. And then everybody else behind them, all the way down to Guido, who is just now coming through. Guido's actually just come out of the pits. He is now coming out of Sector 1, into Sector 1. As looks like Redeemer spins at turn 10, so turn 10 being a very, very popular place right now for some action. Speaking of which, there's a long line of cars from pretty much 8th down to 15th. So 7 or 8 cars all lined right up there. Everybody else out front a little more spaced out. Facetaste beginning to make inroads on Loki ahead of him in that Renault. Meanwhile, up front, Joe is all over the back of Silkweaver. DRS is going to be activated this lap, as Facetaste now sets fast lap of the race at a 1:34.8. Joe is probably just looking for any opening on Silkweaver as it... Oh, did Guido spin? I think Guido spun down at turn 13. That is just going to make his day go from bad to worse. Very unfortunate for him. He's well over a pit stop behind the next car. He has got all the work in the world to do, and he's going to have to stop again because he's on the mediums. Those will not go to the end of the race from here. As it looks like Fluky is possibly looking at a move on Rawlings. Yep, he is. He's around the outside of him looking for the cutback. Not going to get it here. As Marlin takes a peek on Fluky, actually, here for P12. These guys are all bottled up behind Heatwave, as on Heatwave for the final points-paying position in 10th. Very good move by I believe it's, he's in a Haas, by the Haas. Now he's hoping to get away from this pack behind him, who are getting held up by Heatwave. That's the thing about starting on the soft.
Joe's going to go on the hairpin job.
Want to catch this? Trust me, feel free. Oh, as he runs Silkweaver very deep. A little bit of tire banging. I think he's gonna... Silkweaver still got the inside for this corner. I think, nope, backs out of it.
Yeah, one thing I was
And there you
noticing when I
have
was
your
watching
top
the
5.
battle, Joe is just
As Face Taste is
so
going for a
much
move
better on
on
heroes
Loki
management.
here. Makes it look easy down to turn 1. And yeah, Joe has probably just been biding his time and waiting for his moment, knowing those tires were going to come into play here very quickly, as Redeemer now picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that's not helping his case for track extension. He is kind of just running all by himself, a little bit like Guido is off the back of the pack. So Joe now up to 2nd place, coming through Sector 2. What can he gain on the Red Bull out front? He's already gained 2. Make that 3/10 as they come up through 7 and 8 into 9 and 10. Man, that guy is just, that Haas is just on rails on those mediums as the softs start to fall off. DaCosta has just got to be screaming for new tires at this point. If I was him, I would cut my losses and go to the hards right here. Because you got to imagine that Joe is going to make this pretty easily, unless he just wants to wait until they pit and then go hard. Doesn't look like he's close enough to remove this lap. Looking back here at Face Taste, Face Taste has already caught up to the back of Silkweaver ahead of him, by the way. So Face Taste looking at 3rd, takes a peek here, coming up to the final corner. He's not going to have an overlap as DaCosta jumps off into the pit lane. So DaCosta going for that lap 5 pit stop, trying to get off those softs as soon as possible, as now the tire strategy opens up for a 1-stop. So he's going to be pushing it just a little bit here. Very clean stop from the Red Bull crew as he gets back out in the pit lane. Moving back up ahead, has got around Silkweaver on track here to make it medium runners 1 and 2 at the front. Joe with a 2-second advantage. Face Taste got to be wanting to eat into that. We got a yellow flag in Sector 1 as it looks like Andrew is backwards. Andrew is backwards off of turn 4. Ferrari driver gets it righted, but he has lost a ton of time there. And Trace Me gets around him here at the last second. As, whoa, looks like Groggy stuck his nose in there. That'll be drawing the ire of the Ferrari driver just a little bit, I think. Having that Renault just shoved in at the last moment. And just behind these guys, there's DaCosta on those fresh. DaCosta's gone for another set of softs.
Yeah, so he's not enough for the conventional 2-stop, but definitely still a 2-stop here.
Yeah, that's a very interesting strategy. He did just set the fastest 2nd sector, so we'll see what this gets him, but I don't think this is going to be the move, as we have a spinner up here ahead. That is going to be Weiser Square, and looks like, I'm trying to see who that is.
It was Fluky.
In the AlphaTauri going slow. Yeah, it might have been Fluky. No, well, yeah.
Yeah,
A couple of cars going very slowly there. Whippy's up to P3 as looks like Silkweaver and Loki both hit the pit lane here. So current order is Joe, Face Taste, Whiffy, Zampa having a very good showing right now in 4th place. Only about 10 seconds off the lead. Not doing too bad for his first race in Tier 3. Followed very closely by Rawlings. Rawlings has done very well for himself so far. See if he can close down the gap to that Mercedes in front of him. It's not something you hear very often, is a Haas closing down on a Mercedes, but he gained a little bit right there. It looks like Zampa ended up a little bit offline, maybe got a little bit of oversteer out of turn 6. Whoa, what are we seeing here?
I think Fluky just missed his
What
braking point there, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looked like he missed his braking point, maybe didn't have a full wing, and just went straight on into oregano there.
Well, he certainly doesn't have a full one now. Who did he make contact with there?
I believe it was Groggy.
As Andrew is off again at turn 4. He is not having a good time with that corner tonight. Looking around for any damage to the Renault of Groggy Oregano. Looks like he is in one piece for the most part, but he's got Silkweaver on those fresh hards all over the back of him. Speaking of which, Silkweaver running a very unconventional strategy there, as looks like Guido has spun again at turn 10. So a couple of guys having some very tough luck, as Silkweaver is going to go for the move here. Not going to get up the inside, but thought about it. Andrade gets a little bit of slap of oversteer at that low speed point in the hairpin at turn 14. DRS active. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying there. Silkweaver running the car very light on fuel. He's already got the fuel light on here on lap 8, so he's going to have to manage his fuel a little bit to get to the end with any sort of certainty, as DaCosta just sweeps around the outside of Weiser Square on those brand new, relatively new soft tires compared to Weiser's hards. Weiser going for the opposite strategy most of the field, starting on the hard tire and going from there. Not a bad bet sometimes, because safety cars and wacky things do tend to happen around here. Obviously, with as many people having spins as they do, as Fluky has now come into the pits and put on the hard tire. Looks like Max Andrew is also back into the pits. Yellow flag is just for Fluky re-entering the track for some reason. Looking around, Andrew retires from the session. Looks like he has had enough. He is done. Looking at Rawlings here on the back of Zampa. They are on equal tires and equal strategies here. Whoa! Very last minute move to the left-hand side. And wisely, I think, Zampa lets him have it. That was the kind of move that makes you say, okay, he wants it more than I do today. And we got a yellow flag in Sector 1, as it looks like... Who is that? Oh, that's Andrew's AI car, ghost car, rejoining the track. Very annoying little thing there. Ghost cars around here, very, very irritating, shall we say. We had one in Tier 1 that was a little irritating. They don't seem to get out of the way until that point right there. So, looking down through the field, cars that have made a stop versus cars that have not. Costa Browns has made one stop as he looks up the inside of Mad Marlin for 7th. Marlin going to kind of chop him off. DaCosta kind of got shoved over the curbs there. That penalty might get looked at if he doesn't get another warning. So he may possibly be able to get that removed unless he gets another warning at some point during the race. But yeah, Marlin kind of squeezed him over the curbs there at turn 6. Looking further down, Silkweaver, currently the first guy to have stopped and gone to the hard, so he is going to be good to go. He does not have to stop again, whereas DaCosta does, and DaCosta's he's only about 7 seconds up the road. Not a lot of time between those two cars, despite the fact they're on completely polar opposite strategies. And then down lower, you have Loki, Heatwave, Guido, and Fluky that have all stopped, and then obviously Max Andrew and Boostler out of the race. Looking back up here, DaCosta going to go for another move, possibly on Marlin. Nope, not going to do it. As Marlin looks around on Trace Me.
Yeah, DaCosta really got to get a move on here. He's got to clear these two guys and start creating a gap. He's not going to catch these guys up front if he doesn't do so as fast as possible.
Exactly. He's got to get by these guys as fast as possible. As now Marlin takes a look on Trace Me, gets up the inside. He's going to get that move done in turn 1. Trace Me looks back to the inside just a little bit at turn 2, but DaCosta's just like, come on, guys, get it sorted out. Get out of my way. Of course, right now, this is for position as DaCosta gets up the left side. Is he going to possibly get 2 for 1 here? Not quite. Well, he might. He's still up the inside of Marlin heading up to turn 7. He's going to have a lot more grip. Oh. And, did they make contact? I think they made a little contact there.
Definitely a little cheeky there from DaCosta, but like no damage.
A little cheeky, but he's probably a little bit frustrated with those two at this point. So all's well that ends well, I guess, as Weiser Square now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Looking back up ahead, Zampa still hanging on to the back of Rawlings in DRS range, so he's not letting him go. We got a yellow flag in Sector 3, it looks like. What is going on down here? That is Trace Me and Marlin. They have come together at turn 11 and 12. And there's pieces of McLaren everywhere. So the Williams and McLaren come to blows here in China. Trace Me with some damage to the front wing. Looks like he just ran in the back of Marlin. Sorry we missed that, folks. But yeah, that kind of made both their nights go from bad to worse. As we're looking here, Redeemer looking at Loki. Both of them have yet, or actually Redeemer has not stopped. Redeemer picks up a 3-second time penalty there as Andrew now leads the session. And Guido so both, oh, we got a virtual safety car. Guido has come undone here. Let's hop to Face Taste. He has met the barrier down at turn 7 and 8 off the left-hand side. You'll see his car here. There it is. It's right along with Whiffy and Rawlings. So he has just lost the back end there. And that is Racing Point's night over. Groggy Oregano with a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. I mean, that's just adding insult to injury right there. That's just taking a big old pistol and shooting yourself right in the foot in the middle of the race. So now he's going to have 3 laps to serve that. Hopefully he can get a safety car later on in the race and get back in the action, but I wouldn't count on it. Looking back up through the field, not really any close battles. Closest thing we got right now is Redeemer, Loki, and Silkweaver, which is really just, honestly, Silkweaver and Loki, because Redeemer has to stop again. He's got about a 2-second gap to Groggy, and then another 2-second gap back to Marlin, but Marlin has already spun. Groggy's got to serve that drive-through. So Redeemer is going to be looking pretty safe in that P10 spot right now for the moment. Although he did get a bit on Loki there. Loki lost a little bit to Silkweaver in front. Get off the onboards for a minute. Wiser Square still to stop. He is running around in P7, doing pretty good for himself. Zampa, like I said earlier, hanging on the back of Rawlings. Just Rawlings can't seem to shake this Mercedes behind him. So the newbie giving us a little bit of something to cheer for here in China. Lap 12 of 28, and he has not let Rawlings out of his sight.
Absolutely, and one thing I'm looking at here is if he can realize that Joe is still ahead of Rawlings, he can honestly go for the undercut or the overcut here. I mean, it depends, but right here in that period where it's time to pit, and could really make something happen.
Indeed. I would say we're probably going to see these guys on the medium start hitting the pit lane in the next probably 2 to 3 laps for the optimal changeover. You don't want to really take these, you don't really want to take it 50-50. You kind of want to pit a lap or 2 sooner than that when you do this medium to hard strategy, just so that way you're on the fresher tires, the freshest tires the longest. Because at this point, those mediums are going to start really falling away as Heatwave has now left the session. Unfortunate for him. He's made 2 stops already and has lagged out of the session. Hopefully we can get him back in here. As now Redeemer's also left the session. That's unfortunate for him. He was doing pretty good. As now that medium to hard strategy does open up.
Everyone's lagging out.
Yeah, everybody's lagging out. Now Face Taste is lagged out. He was running in P2. So, yeah. That throws a monkey wrench in things. Not really sure what to say to that, to be honest. And commentator's curse there. As soon as I say that Zampa's not allowing Rawlings to break away from him, Rawlings breaks away from him. Did I just see a spit of rain? Yep, it's raining. It's raining, folks. Redeemer is back in the session. It's a good timing for him. Hopefully Face Taste can get back in before too long. Toxin, if you can try to just make sure everybody that is AI'd and out of their cars right now gets them back in, as it looks like Face Taste's car has hit the pit lane. Oh, this could be bad. Oh, no. Face Taste's crew just put him on a set of the hards, and it is starting to rain. This is absolutely horrible for the Ferrari. He had a chance. He had a chance until that. Oh, that just makes you sick. Cody's, figure it out, please. He's going to join back in and be fuming with that. Come on, guys. Get it sorted out. The lag outs should not be happening like that. So it looks like Facetaste has resumed control of his car, and he's going to come back in and see that it's raining, and he's on a fresh set of hards. I would love to have a bug in the headset of that Ferrari right now.
Tried to get him as fast as I could. Unfortunately, I didn't have one of them headed, and a lot longer than expected, but...
Yeah, it looks like he is still actually AI'd and out of the vehicle, as is Heatwave. So we're going to change over to the tire graphic here, as we got a yellow in Sector 3. One of the Red Bulls is around. That is that DeCosta? No, that's, who is that? That's Fluky that's around, so that's not one of the Red Bulls, that's one of the Tauris.
Against that changeover period, maybe one more lap or maybe two, but...
Toxin, try... oh, whoa! Fluky just clattered the tire barrier on the way into the pits. That's not how you do it, son. As we now have Draghi Oregano onto the intermediate tire. He's the first man to change over onto that inner, so we'll be watching his progress very closely. Toxin, unplug and replug your mic. Apparently you sound like Mr. Roboto over there. We're in China, not Japan. Alright, so we will be looking for some lap times, as looks like Trace Me has spun at the exit of turn 13 on the hards. Very unfortunate for the McLaren drivers. He's now going to try and crawl his way back onto the track. Draghi Oregano coming around turn 13 should get him fairly easily. He does. Down the back straightaway as Trace Me just crawls along. Looks like Marlin getting on the intermediates, as well as Weiser Square. Everybody else in front of them except for DaCosta. DaCosta Browns, first man on the intermediates right now, as Heatwave picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Getting his name mixed up with the penalty time he just picked up. So we will see how that gap to Loki ahead of him, or actually to his teammate ahead of him, Redeemer, comes down on this lap. He's only 3 seconds behind his teammate. Got to imagine the next lap or two that... Oh yeah, that the changeover time is now, boys. The changeover time is now.
Joe is done.
DaCosta has pulled 1.5 seconds in 2 corners on his teammate. That right there is all you need to see. Sweeping around the outside of him at turn 13, and now looks like Joe has actually... Yep, Joe has now left the session. Thankfully, he got on the intermediates at the right time there. But he needs to get back. We need to get him back in the session ASAP here. So the sooner we can get him back in, the more of that he's going to retain, and the more likely it is going to be possible that he is going to end up winning this race.
Zero.
Yep, okay, so Joe is back in. He'll resume control of the car momentarily and still have about 15 seconds worth of that advantage to go. Got a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks like Fluky has clattered. Yep, Fluky's clattered the end of the pit wall again. Apparently Fluky just didn't get the message the first time he went in there and slid off that now's the time to get the sun. As the intervals all reset, so I have no idea who's how far in front of who. But Joe's got a pretty big gap, pretty much the entire length of the back straightaway, which is just absolutely monumental, as my controller just decides to die. Okay. Technical difficulties, folks. Hold on. There we go.
Yeah, Rawlings not far behind Facetis here. Picasso not far behind Zampa.
Oh, we got a fight right here. Looks like Loki is looking at Weiser Square. Weiser appears to be AI'd and ghosted right now, so I'm not sure if he's in the car. I think he's not, as Loki just kind of scoots right through him and is going to pick up that place. So Loki up into 7th. This is making those guys that started on the hards, or mediums even, look pretty smart right about now. This is what Deer Hunter and I were planning on doing on Saturday night, and we would have looked like geniuses if it had worked. Unfortunately, our rain did not decide to hold off. So, currently looking at DaCosta Browns here, he is only 0.6 behind Zampa ahead of him. Gotta imagine that'll be a pretty easy move considering the pace difference between those two drivers are. As now Weiser Square rejoins after losing 1 spot. He's only 1 spot to Loki. But this is the closest battle on track, folks, right here. Only 3/4 of a second separating the Red Bull, the Mercedes. As they come through Sector 2, it looks like DaCosta has a much cleaner run through 9 and 10. A little bit of oversteer right there on the exit, not too much. Still has gained a little bit of time on him. That's just kind of the name of the game in the wet, is inch closer, inch closer, inch closer. Aerodynamics play a big effect, as does the dirty air, but a lot of times it's just about being the guy that slides the least. So coming onto that back straightaway, Zampa pulls over to the extreme right-hand side of the track, trying to just minimize the slipstream he gives to DaCosta behind him. DaCosta running a bit more downforce, it looks like, as the intervals just again decide to just disappear. He lost about 2.5 that straightaway alone, so DaCosta running a good bit more downforce than the Mercedes in front of him. All right, now we're starting to get the intervals back here. So yeah, you got to imagine that DaCosta is going to close up a little bit through here and through Sector 2. I did not see the Tier 2 race. Did they have rain in Tier 2 as well?
Yeah, we actually started on the intermediates. I would say about 9 the hard to the other race.
All right. Well, so far, the top 3 tiers have all experienced adverse conditions here in China. So will Tier 4 make it 4 for 4? Find out here in about roughly, what, an hour? I think is when they start from now.
Yeah. But did Tier 5 have any?
Fine. I don't know if Tier 5 had any, but it's anybody's guess as to what happened in that race. I was a little preoccupied on Friday night, so I did not catch that race. But end up it's gonna raise eyebrows, I think, because I don't think we've ever seen BRL where all the tiers simultaneously had rain. I honestly don't think that's ever happened.
Facetis, right there, looking for P3 as well.
I just noticed that. Excuse me, folks. DaCosta closes up on the back of Zampa. Facetis is rapidly both of them, and they pick up time penalties as they all run wide there at the exit of the final corner. DaCosta looking to make that move. That's a questionable move, but inside line. That is huge right here. Oh, bit of contact. DaCosta gets sideways. Facetis goes. Oh, more contact. Oh, wow. I mean, are we playing bumper cars or are we racing, boys?
Yeah, definitely getting a little slotty and bumpy there, but did check penalties, and DaCosta has 2 penalties here, Zampa with 1. Facetis with not even a single warning, so he's in definitely a great spot here.
Facetis doing extremely well right here. Only going to be looking at the podium here, unfortunately, because of that second pit stop he's had to make. He could be looking at second place if it wasn't for that. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Somebody getting very sideways and very slow. It's now back to green, so we'll just ignore that. And keep our eyes on this 3-way battle here. Why is it always you? This feels like one of those McGonagall memes here. Why is it always you three when there's trouble? A Mercedes, a Red Bull, and a Ferrari.
Yep.
We've seen
Such
this
a
movie
small
too
world.
many times. We've seen this movie before. See this with a run down the back straightaway here into the hairpin. He's going to get up the inside of DaCosta. Is he going to make it stick around the inside? I think he does. DaCosta with the switchback. Not going to get the grip there. The outside is going to be a lot grippier here in the wet on the exit. So, Mex Faceace up to P4. Now sets his sights on SSR Zampa just ahead in the Mercedes. That Ferrari is absolutely moving right now. Coming around turns 1 and 2, closes right up on the back of him. DaCosta able to do nothing against that.
You know, the Faceace got a really good run, and not something with a Ferrari bull.
No, definitely not. Checking on a quick position change there between Marlin and Redeemer. Marlin went into the pits just after that, so really didn't get to see anything out of that little battle there. Didn't realize that they were even that close, but really these are the only three close cars on the track, so we're going to keep our eyes on this and see how all this shakes out between these three. I gotta think that Faceace it's more a matter of when that he gets around Zampa.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Although to be fair, Zampa has held his own at this point, and he's running less downforce. So, especially in the wet around here, really the only overtaking opportunity you have is at the end of the straightaway. As we now have a yellow flag in Sector 3, it looks like Loki has spun, or half spun there, at 11 and 12. And is Faceace going to have a lunge? I think Faceace is going to have a lunge. He's going up the inside. He has got the space. Can Zampa get the run on the exit? He can. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, so I think he's going to retain that position fairly easily. Shoves the Ferrari out wide a little bit, but that's a very awkward corner to go side by side through. Just ask Hoopalicious. I sent him too wide through there on Saturday. But now Faceace with a nice big run down to turn 1. Up the inside of the Mercedes. Once again, you got to think this is going to be it, or is that Mercedes just going to hang it around the outside? I think he's going to try it. I think he's going to try sticking with him. Side by side through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a little sideways there for Zampa. And that right there is the fight. And now DaCosta gets around him as well. So Zampa down to 4th, DaCosta up to 4th, and Faceace up to 3rd. You got to think that Faceace is now going to be able to just streak off into the distance, being on he's a lap fresher tires than the car behind, and I believe markedly quicker. And meanwhile, in the background, Rawlings quietly creeping up on this. We have a safety car session. We have a safety car on the circuit.
Don't think we're going to see any pit stops here, but this is going to be one hell of a run to the end.
And the rain has stopped. DaCosta gets a speeding penalty.
Is someone going to make the move and try and go on the softs here? Or the mediums?
It might be if the track dries up, but DaCosta just shot himself in the foot. DaCosta just netted himself a drive-through, and he cannot serve it until the safety car goes in. Joe leaves the session again. Fortunately, it's under safety car this time, so I think he'll be all right.
Hopefully you got the right tire on in time. He is onto the softs.
And we do have cars going onto the soft tire here. Interesting. Whiffy Winter now into the pits as well. Do these guys think it's dry enough for softs? Because it looks pretty slick out there. Faceace going to stick with the inners for the moment. Zampa going to go into the pits. Looks like he might be opting for the softs. Rawlings in. Loki's in. Joe's back into the session. And he's put on a used set of softs, interestingly enough. So did he not have any new sets or less used sets than a 5-lap-old set of softs to go with? Faceace gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. What are you doing, son? Oh, that's just going to make you sick when that happens.
Joe did have a weird qualifying. He may have accidentally chosen the wrong softs. Or not had any really to go with.
It's possible, but those aren't going to last very long. So, questionable whether Joe is going to be able to retain this. Whoa! Silkweaver very sideways out of the pit lane. Surprised he didn't net at least a warning for that, if he didn't.
If this can clear up just a little bit more on the next couple of laps, I mean, it's going to be a great fight, but Whiskey, Zampa, and Rawlings in great positions here.
It's going to be a great fight, but remember the two guys on the inners still, if it doesn't, and all these guys on softs, the two guys leading on inners, which are Facetaste and DaCosta, have drive-thrus. With less than 5 laps to go when we go back. Yeah, they've both gotten one.
Oh, no. Yeah,
they've both gotten one for speeding under the safety car.
Definitely think
so. I mean, if it's not dry enough, for the softs, and these two go and serve that drive-through, everybody else has kind of made their bet at this point. And Wiser Square, as well as Heatwave, are the two guys.
Yeah, they're both
jumping in. So they're going to probably lose a good bit of track position doing this. Or maybe only one spot, depending. But either way, they still got to serve those drive-thrus. Zampa is just spun.
Going to lose a position to Rawlings in the process.
Yep, he is, and that's just making Rawlings, as now Wiser Square jumps into the pits on those intermediates, so I think he said, yep, nope, that's enough. And DaCosta has gone to the mediums, interestingly enough.
Wow. That's unfortunate for Rawlings and Zampa there. I think they were going to be able to jump Facetas and DaCosta there, but Rawlings having to wait up on Zampa, and both of them just can't jump them at all. Like, I mean, other than that, I mean, if their drive-through doesn't have to be served, they get the 5 second, they can still be in position here.
It'll have to be served as soon as we go back green. They'll have 3 laps. And if they don't serve it, they'll add 20 seconds to their race time. So, unfortunately, those two, all the hard work that those two have put in this entire race has just been undone with 5 laps to go. It kind of goes back to the first rule of racing. In order to finish first you must finish. And in order to finish, you must not be an idiot. Which, to be frank, as much time as this thing gives you to get your delta back positive after it tells you that it's negative, unless it's on a VSC right as it goes back green that you go negative and it gives you one, like that's happened to me, that's happened to a lot of people actually, particularly the last game. But under a full safety car, doing that, I mean, I don't mean to put the guys down, but you're kind of an idiot if you do that. For lack of a better way to put it, you're kind of a moron if you do that. Especially in this race, I mean, you're recovering from that. You're right down the order, regardless of what you do. Same thing with Joe on those tires. I got to imagine he's going to probably fall like a stone. So, with this little late race reset here, Whiffy Tori up to pace, and he's on 6 lap fresher softs than the car in front of him.
Yeah, definitely in the best position of all the drivers. Zampa and Rawlings, though, definitely going to be people to watch here.
They are, but Whiffy's got those 2 cars. If Facetaste and DaCosta don't jump into the pits immediately to serve their penalties, then you know, if they stick it out the full 3 laps, that could play right into Whiffy's hands, and he could probably get away a little bit. Or if Face Taste tries to fight him, safety car in this lap. So when we go back racing, we will have 4 laps remaining in the race. Face Taste is going to have to make sure he stays in front of that Ferrari if he wants any chance at this, I think. Otherwise, he's going to be a little too close for comfort to the guys behind when those two have to serve those penalties.
I'm just really interested to see what Facetas and Acosta do here, knowing they have that penalty. If they're gonna try and race hard and make a couple of mistakes, maybe cause another safety car. I don't know. Maybe not intentionally.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's going to throw another safety car at this point. So Heatwave and Redeemer both trying to rush to catch back up to the pit, to the back of the pack here. I think they're just going to get there as we go back green, and their tires are going to be a lot hotter than everybody else's in front of them. So looking back at the front, we are back to racing here at this corner, this final corner. Joe off the final corner is going to restart this race, and Whiffy already closing in. Folks, if you're just tuning in, you tuned in at the right time. We just got off a safety car restart. Guy out front's on 8 laps old softs. Guy behind him's on 2 lap old softs. 2 guys behind them have drive-through penalties from the safety car. 2 guys, and pretty much everybody else behind them is a mixed bag of penalties. So we'll see how this works out. It looks like Whiffy did get away from the 2 guys behind him. He's maintaining a gap to Joe. And right through here, this is where he's going to gain in a couple. Give it another lap or 2, and Joe's tires are going to go completely off the cliff. I hate to put the guy in the grave while he's still alive, but I think Joe's got 0 chance as Groggy now picks up a 3-second time penalty for track extensions off turn 10 there. You just got to think that those tires are going to give up here very shortly. As, DaCosta into the inside wall. DaCosta Brown out of the session. And we have oh my goodness, what is going to happen here?
See, now Facetas not having served his penalty, he's going to
have to even get a chance to serve
it. I mean, he could have right as the safety car went in. That was his mistake.
I don't think it counts. I don't think it counts. Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Him not serving that, he's now got no chance of maintaining a good finish. He's going to drop right out of the points doing that. Yeah.
It's going to be a one-lap shootout?
It might be, or is it? It's either going to be a one-lap shootout, or it's going to be a land rush to the line.
Yeah. And you can't pass before the line. I think Joe's your winner here.
And it is now going to be a 20-second time penalty for Mex Face Taste. We are now getting confirmation. And, okay. Picked up a 5-second time penalty there for a severe collision with... okay. We're just going to leave that alone. We're just not going to look at that. We're just going to imagine that we didn't see that.
And Rawlings does fall to P9, however, in that instance, and I'm assuming that's got to be looked at. I mean, there's no way.
I don't even know how this is going to shake out. I don't even know if we're going to actually get a lap of racing in to finish this off.
Yeah, it hasn't said safety car in this lap.
There goes safe. So we're going to get 2 laps.
Okay.
One lap banger.
The old-fashioned green light checker. Little NASCAR vibes for us.
Yeah, little NASCAR vibes. So now Joe, 9 laps on those softs, most of them under safety car at this point. And Whiffy winner with 3 laps on his. What can he do as Heatwave picks up a 5-second time penalty? It's like... My thing with these guys picking up these penalties is like, what are you doing? Why are you that close? There's no reason to be running in the back of the guy in front of you under safety car.
Joe again, gonna try and get a nice run out here. If he's still in a great spot, this is definitely gonna be close.
I think if Joe can get a good run and get away from Whiffy, but it looks like Whiffy stayed a lot closer this time. I think if Joe can get away as Face Taste now jumps into the pits to serve that penalty. And wow. Insult to injury. 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. He's finishing dead stone last aside from Fluky, who is lap down, I believe. Anyway, we're just going to keep our eyes on this battle as now Joe has actually pulled out a second gap already on Whiffy. What is going on with Whiffy? He needs to close up on him.
Yeah, Whiffy got a bad turn 2 there, and the turn 3 locks it back in a little bit. But I'll be damned to say that Zampa right in this, still in P3, and he's closing in on Whiffy here through Sector 2.
Man, give Zampa a round of applause. If he holds on to this, and hell, if he gets around Whiffy, because Joe's tires, if Joe can get to the end of this without getting a puncture, I'll be impressed. He has taken those soft tires 10 laps. That is way more than they should be capable of with any sort of reasonable pace. Oh, but off that corner there, Whiffy gets a good run. He's closed in a tenth and a half on the straightaway. 2 tenths. Here he comes, Sector 2, yellow flag for Face Taste. No trouble there. Down to the hairpin. Beautifully executed. Gonna get a nice run. He's down. He's 8 tenths. Are we gonna see a last lap lunge from the AlphaTauri?
It's a great run through the penultimate turn there. Or I'm sorry, the final turn. He does.
Joe resets fast lap at 1:33.2. But Whiffy can smell the blood. He can smell those older softs in front of him. What can he do with it? He's got to stay closer through this first couple of corners. He's got to start gaining on him. He's losing time through there. Joe looks like he's just running a much more planted setup through that first section of the track. Able to hold Whiffy at bay just a little bit. Whiffy goes up over the curb just a little bit there. Oh, I think he's just too far back to make this work.
Zampa really close him in here. Let's see if Zampa can go for the move here. Definitely going to be within DRS range at the protection point. It looks like.
DRS isn't going to be active here.
Oh, you're right.
And Joe resets the fastest second sector. Is Joe going to set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap here? I think that would just be a big old cheeky middle finger to the entire field if he does that on 11 lap old softs right now.
Great run for the hairpin.
Well, folks, give it up for the Haas driver, SSR Joe. He's going to come off the final corner, barring any penalties, and win here in China and set the fast lap of the race on the last lap.
Loki!
Loki jumps up on penalties to P2. Not the first time we've seen him sneak up.
Rocky up to P4, and Stokely were up to P5. Zampa unfortunate on the penalties.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, it was a great drive overall there from Joe, you know. I mean, he had the pace all the whole weekend, and you know, just able to, like you say, just put the middle finger up and just let it fly right there at the end. And
I mean,
you know,
that's Groggy gets driver of the day. Very much, I think, deserved going up to 4th place at the end there. Keeping it relatively clean compared to everybody else, apparently. But I'm amazed at the fact Joe was able to just drive off like that. That's... wow. So there you have it. Joe, Loki, and Whiffy on the podium in China.
Yeah, I gotta give my driver the day
at the
Whiffy, man.
At the end of the last lap there. Man, I got to give it to Joe because he was on just tires that should have been screaming for help. And just drove away. I mean, I can't even contemplate giving anybody else that award today. And set the fastest lap on the last lap of the race to boot, to do it, to just put a dot on the I.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I just think Whiffy coming all the way from B12 up to that, that podium right there, just then able to keep it close and even almost challenge for the win. I'm gonna give my vote to him, but can't go wrong with saying Joe either.
No, none of these guys in the top 4 are undeserving of that. 9th to 1st, 8th to 2nd, 12th to 3rd, 16th to 4th. And Zampa as well, 15th to 6th on his first race in Tier 3. Good job from the Mercedes, but wow, that was a little bit crazy, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Always having a good race here in Tier 3. We haven't had any yawn sessions yet, and already looking forward to next week at Zandvoort. See what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. As I'm sure everybody is well aware, I am not the biggest fan of Zandvoort, but we'll get back to that later. Anyway, we've got some interviews to do here. Let's get these guys in. Starting, we're going to go in podium order here tonight. So let me get Joe in here, and we'll start with him. And yeah. It's not very often I'm speechless. But right now, folks, I am speechless. All right, so we got Joe and Whiffy joining us here in the booth, trying to find Loki.
Oh, what a race, boys. What a race, eh? Is that good on TV or what? Felt good on screen. Felt good on screen.
Man, I gotta ask, what did you have for breakfast this morning, Joe?
I don't know, bro. I had like eggs, some bacon,
Well,
pretty
it's not
good.
quite
Good
porridge,
hearty,
but apparently
good
it
hearty
worked.
all-American breakfast. Good hearty all-American breakfast. is what it was.
Joe, you have left me speechless. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. I don't even know what to say to that right now.
Oh, I did? Wow.
Dude,
Thanks,
you just
I
drove
guess.
off from people on worn tires, set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, and won off a safety car restart. Do us a favor, walk us through your night and exactly how you managed to pull off something that most people watching this are still probably sitting there with their jaws hanging open like me.
Well, I mean, in quali, I pretty much just I didn't think the soft to hard would be that good because the softs were pretty bad in the beginning. So I started on the mediums, and then Jeff told me it was gonna rain, so I just stretched them as long as I could until it rained. And Face Task decided to pit. He was right behind me. He decided to pit on the hards, so I just thought that was a bad move.
He was actually out of the session in AI at that point. He lagged out a couple of times, I think.
Oh, yeah, I got the Xbox Live glitch like multiple times during the race. It was pretty unfortunate, but I got pretty lucky during them. But during the inters, I just tried to keep my pace good, and I was just trying to go along the track, not get any penalties, and wait for the dry stint. And then there's a safety car, so it was just pit onto the softs and then go to the home then.
Indeed, it was. Most of the front runners for most of the race ended up getting drive-through penalties for speeding under the safety car and virtual safety cars. So that kind of opened things up a little bit for the rest of you guys. We had very close competition between you and Whiffy there at the end. Whiffy on much fresher tires from the graphic that we were seeing. Did you think maybe he was going to cause you some problems?
Yeah, on the first restart, he was coming to attack me, but then the one driver behind crashed, and then the safety car came out. I got lucky. He was coming up pretty fast behind me. He was gonna take me into the hairpin. but I got lucky. And then on the restart, I guess I just got a better restart and kept it on the floor.
All right, well, Joe, you have done something not a whole lot of people have done, which is deeply, deeply impressed me. I tip my hat to you, sir.
Thanks.
Pulling that off.
Yeah, it was a fun race. Hope for more to come.
Indeed. We're only on round 4. We got 18 more of these things to go. So, moving on to second place finisher. For the second time this season, I'm saying this. Man on the rostrum, non-ripe Loki. The German jumping his way up to P2 on penalties at the end. Loki, how do you feel after that?
Yeah, it's alright. It was a weird race, to be honest. Lots of crashes, lots of safety cars in the end, 2 in a row. Yeah, I just raced my own race. Because, to be honest, I got screwed 4 times in the last week by the game, so I just thought, just race for fun. Don't train too much, because why? if the game always screws you. And it worked out for me. So maybe that's a good tactic for the future. Don't know.
Yeah, it seems to me like the guys who play the game more have the worst luck with that sort of stuff for some reason.
Yeah, and I spun once because the game just decided to go full throttle, even when I didn't. And well, I wouldn't say I don't care, but I don't care as much anymore. I just drive for fun. I just drove on, and on penalties I got P2, what surprised me a little bit, but hey, here I am. Racing is for fun.
Relatively quiet race. That's the key, is do it for fun.
Exactly. That's what I do now.
But exactly. Do it for fun, but you still gotta maintain a little bit of that competitive edge, because otherwise
Yeah, I had at the start. I had someone in my party who watched the race and thought, "Ooh, that was close," because I saw a gap there and just thought, "Yeah, just take it. There was a gap." So I still have this little competitive thing because I think, "Yeah, there's a gap. I take it." Even if it was close, it was all fair. So, yeah, it's fun racing like that. And got P2 in the end.
So.
But to be honest, it's a bit sad for
that.
Facetas, because I think he got screwed by the game. And he was a very good race for him.
Yeah, Facetas did have a good race going for him. Unfortunately, got bit by the safety car there quite a bit, finishing well down the order, out of the points. So all that work for nothing.
And congrats to Joe.
Probably.
Good race, mate.
Thanks. Good race for you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Moving along to our third place finisher tonight, Whiffy winner 516. Whiffy, you had the best tires there at the end out of the top 3. Did you think you had a shot at it?
I mean, I did and I didn't. So, like, I pitted on the same lap as Joe. He pitted, like, well ahead of me by, like, 20 seconds because of the lead he had under the wet conditions. But, like, we were on the same. The first safety car, 100%. Like, as Joe said, we were in the same party together. So, like, he asked me straight up if I was coming at him down the straightaway. And I didn't say yes until the safety car came out, because I wasn't about to obviously give away any move I was making. But, I definitely would have went him the first safety car, definitely down the inside into the hairpin. But the second safety car, in all honesty, I was actually closer when we came across the finish line, like to start the lap. But I lost him a little bit through 1 and 2 there. I couldn't get back into that draft and make the run the last lap. But I know we were like, we were in the same 10th on our going for fastest lap. Like, we were definitely, one was pushing the other if it was going to go one way or the other. So hopefully I can get my second place reinstated because of some safety car conditions. I got bumped in the rear there, I think, by mixed face taste, but took a 5-second over it. So I'm hoping I can get bumped back up. But it was a good race. Like, there was a lot of the medium guys, a lot of those soft guys took precedence over. We took precedence over them. We went the distance on the one stop towards the inters, and that a lot of those guys having a 2-stop like that before the wet, it just gave us a lot better pace, I had a lot more options coming into that wet conditions than anything.
Indeed, when you know the rain's coming towards halfway of the race, or even later on in the race, sometimes it's better to go for that less than optimal strategy, set it you up on that hard tire. Worked out well for you tonight. Almost ended with the car on the top step of the podium, but
I'll get
just
one
a
this
little
year,
bit
buddy.
shy.
I'll get one this
I'm
year.
sure
Don't
you
worry.
will. I'm sure
worry.
you'll get multiples, as I'm
Thank
sure
you,
all
sir.
of you will at one point, because you three seem to have a very, very handy knack of finding yourself at the front of these races at the very end. So we look forward to seeing more from all of you. We look forward to seeing more of you all actually watching here at BRL as we continue on through this season. Y'all have been wonderful tuning in for these races. Saw a high of 41 on my screen. It probably got higher than that at one point, but very good viewership overall so far this season. So, from China tonight, this has been Ferrari Net 94 with Toxin. I will be in the booth for the rest of the season here with Toxin for Tier 3. We thank you all very much, and good night.